Before USC's spring practice number 4 even started, they were celebrating April Fool's Day, and they were banging on the tom-tom drums.
You are Locked On USC, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Holkin, and thank you for making Locked On USC. It's part of the Locked On Network, your first listen every day. Whether you're watching the show on YouTube, wherever you want to download your podcast, the show's always free. And I can't remind you enough how much I appreciate your support. On yesterday's episode of Locked On USC, I told my everydayers, this is why you need to be tuning in every day. If you're watching on YouTube, click that red subscribe button. You're not going to want to miss an episode. I've got all of your intel. This is the place to be every day. I told my everydayers that USC was going to be getting 2 commits this week. Everyone's assuming, we're trying to connect the dots that Saturday on April 5th, running back Deshaun Rideau was going to be one of them. The mystery was who was going to be the other one. We still don't know for sure it's going to be Deshaun Rideau, but all the signs are pointing to it's going to be Deshaun Rideau. So that's one. Everyone, myself included, was starting to wonder, why was Tom Tom, why was he taking so long to make the Ducks feel USC's recruiting wrath after he decommitted, from Oregon over a week ago, March 25th, actually 1 week ago? Well, Tom Tom was saving it for April Fool's Day. He committed, and it wasn't a joke, not on USC at least. I am telling everyone right now, okay? I told everybody yesterday there's going to be 2 commits this week. I lied. I passed on some false information that Chad Bowden talked about on the most recent episode of the Trojans Live radio talk show. He said we're getting 2 this week. He let everybody know right away. Well, I'm not saying that he was fibbing, but I'm not sure he knew exactly what was going down because USC's getting 3 this week. Nevertheless, USC is stacking and they are racking California's best talent in the 2026 recruiting cycle. USC is landing virtually whoever they want, and they're all from California. Right now, USC has the number 1 recruiting class, and they already hold commitments from 5 of the top 21 players from the Golden State. Tom Tom is considered the nation's number 154th overall best prospect. The number 15 defensive lineman, which we'll get into that here momentarily, but let me just tell you what USC's getting with Tomahini. Number 1, you're getting as a junior last year, he had 42 tackles. 10.5 of those were for a loss. He also had 6.5 sacks. Just because he's big and strong and looks like a nose tackle, defensive tackle, that doesn't mean he's not athletic. He also intercepted a pass, and he happened to return it 50 yards for a touchdown. And if that was enough, he also had a forced fumble on his resume. That was just in his junior year. You want to see what he can do in offense? All right. Well, in high school, you can line him up in the backfield, and he'll get you that tough yard. He'll score a touchdown. And like I said, he's got good hands. He also caught a pass. Cannot wait to see him wearing the Cardinal gold. That's all I can say. So now you've got Tom Tom in the fold. The Ducks are going, damn it, that's 2. Remember, USC flipped Jonas Williams, the quarterback. That was significant. Getting Tom Tom to flip, the significance quota is times 10, maybe times 50. It's that big of a deal. So USC's recruiting class right now, the momentum is hard to stop. It is flowing. I mean, it's like a snowball rolling downhill, and it started at the top of Mount Everest. That's how much momentum it has. So not only does Tom Tom's commitment to USC open up that modern-day pipeline again, it's starting to flow towards USC. Do not be surprised if tight end Mark Bowman pulls the trigger for USC eventually. I will tell you for sure the significance why getting Topui into the class was so important. He is one of those movers and shakers in the Polynesian community. His friends, guys who play football in Southern California and California, they're taking notice. They saw what just happened. Trust me, when I say guys like linebacker Talanoa Ely, who just recently moved to Hawaii, he's noticing. So is Kini Pepe, the the offensive lineman, originally from California. He's out at IMG Academy right now. Those guys are noticing. And that's good news for USC. Following Tuesday's practice, head coach Lincoln Riley, he's not allowed to speak specifically about individual recruits. Can't talk about them until they're signed. Just one of those rules. But he was asked about the momentum this year and why it feels different than last year. Remember, all that momentum USC had, getting those early commitments, those were all out-of-state guys. USC has 18 commitments. 12 are from the state of California. So this is what Coach Riley said. USC has a lot of momentum in every area right now. But that 2026 group of local recruits, they see the visions of playing at home and playing at USC. They see that, and they see it collectively. When he said when they see that, he was pointing to the brand new Bloom Family Football Performance Center that's under construction right now. He said it's a pretty cool thing to watch unfold. And I agree. I mean, what USC is experiencing right now, this is how USC was recruiting back in the day when 80% of their roster was California. That's where they're going with this. That's where they're going with this recruiting class. They want 80% of the guys to be homegrown products. So USC is the number one recruiting class in the country right now. And they're, like I said, they're keeping all of California's best at home. Here's my issue, and it's probably a little mini rant and probably nitpicking for good reason. USC has the number one class in the country. But a lot of these guys don't really, I don't know where they get their rankings from, how they compile their ranking. So, like I said, USC has the number one class. On 3, the network I work for over there at wearesc.com, they have Tom Tom as the 49th best defensive tackle in the country, and they're only ranking him as a 3-star. Everyone else has him as a 4-star. There's one more reason why, and I say it how many times on the show. Now you know why I am not a fan of the star rating system. It's just some random Joes out there forming an opinion. It's not right. Like I said, you want to know how good a player is, the potential of a prospect, look at the programs that have offered scholarships. That tells you all you need to know. So Tom Tom is joining these guys. I mentioned USC's 2026 class. It's California heavy. You've got RJ Sermons, Rancho Cucamonga, California. Number one cornerback in the state, maybe in the country. Brandon Lockhart, one of the top cornerbacks in the state and in the country. He's from LA. Samodi Karuanga, top defensive lineman in the state of California. You've got his teammate, wide receiver Trent Mosley. How about athletes, Joshua Holland from Bellflower? You've got underrated athlete, Madden Reardon, Pasadena, California. All he does is catch interceptions. You got wide receiver Jamiron Baker, Tron. He's from Los Alamitos. You got the other defensive lineman, Andrew Williams from Los Angeles. You want to throw in a couple of offensive linemen? Okay, I got you. How about John Fafita from Mountain View? You've got Chase Dietz, the UCLA legacy. He's from San Diego. Malik Brooks, defensive lineman from Downey. So who do you think is next? Like I said, we're getting 3 this week. We have a good idea. We can feel comfortable assuming Deshaun Rideau is going to be one of them. I can't tell you. I know who it is. I can't tell you. Been sworn to secrecy. Tell you what, though, if you want to get some inside nuggets, some insider information, when you're done watching this episode of Locked On USC, get on over there to wearesc.com. You should. I mean, everyone else is doing it. You know, they Scott Schrader, he'll drop a nugget, and before you know it, you got some YouTube content creator out there saying, "Oh, I heard this." Do me a favor, source it. I digress. Might make that my Friday rant, but it is getting frustrating. I'll say that. Anyways, so USC's recruiting, it's on fire right now. And they're doing it on April Fool's Day. The Trojan staff made Oregon's recruiting staff the butt of the joke. It's a very special day. Yeah, pretty exciting day around USC. You had Tom Tom, who, by the way, was on campus today. There was quite a few people on campus. It was a really good day. And all this happened before USC started practice number 4, spring camp. I'm going to talk about that next. When you need to get the supplies you need from the site that's made for skilled trades, you need to go to Supply House. Whether you're into plumbing, whether you're into HVAC, electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources, and they give you the latest product information to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 plus top brands, you're going to find exactly what you need, delivered fast, and they're going to do it from coast to coast. And if you need help with an order, not a problem. Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service. You'll always talk to a real person. And for the trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trademaster program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the Trademasters program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, if you use promo code SH5, you're going to get 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Walking into spring practice number 4, how many of you have heard the song Lil Boo Thang by Paul Russell? And if you've heard of that song, I'm sure you have. It's one of the more popular songs out there. If you hang out on YouTube or any of the social media, sites like Instagram or Twitter, you might see these little short videos of dogs walking, happy dogs, and the song's playing in the background. That was USC's coaching staff today on the way into practice. I mean, picture Coach Henny, Coach Nua, Coach Dog, Aaron Ama, just big smiles, ear to ear. They were feeling it. They had that vibe going. And I know if you were to put on their, I don't know, the music they listen to, Paul Russell, Lil Boo Thang, they were feeling that vibe today. I was. That's the only song. That was the only song that was going through my head, other than Fight On. And I'll tell you about that here momentarily. So you had USC defensive line coach Eric Henderson, really good mood. John Nua, really good mood. Coach Aaron Ama, a.k.a. Coach Dog, also great mood. Coach Dog is, I'll call him the tip of the spear when it comes to getting the Polynesian guys in line for Coach Henderson and Coach Nua to do the closing deal. Like I said, Coach Ama, he was in a really good mood. This was one of his life's missions, to keep these guys at home. So on his way into Howard Jones Field, he said it 3 times. Let's F word go. And the F word did not stand, it wasn't translating for it's fluid. I think you know where he was going with that. He was jacked. The team, they were ready to go. They were back in pads for the second practice in a row. And Coach Riley talked about the energy level and the team's effort and how high it still was coming off of Saturday's practice. Coach Riley said he was actually pleased with the effort on Tuesday. Quote, it was intense and we had to break them up a couple of times, which I'm okay with, end quote. the guys are competing. They're getting after it. And sometimes when you're getting after it, you know, those competitive juices start flowing. You might have lost a battle. You might take it a little personally. Stuff happens, and that's okay. Afterwards, shake hands, enjoy a smoothie together, get back to the locker room, wash, rinse, repeat, do it the next time. So on Saturday, I had one of my assets, one of my sources, told me that one of the offensive linemen got into it, was giving Thanos, was giving the freshman the business. They got in, you know, they had a one-on-one rep. The older player, by a year or two, yeah, got the better of him. It's okay. It's okay. No one got hurt. But like I said, I have zero issues when the offensive line is bringing the nasty to practice every day. The nastier, the better. I mean, I want it to stink with nasty. How's that? When the pads come on for practice, the refs also show up. They're there to throw their laundry around. And there is actually a benefit to having the refs, you know, in a full complement. Having them show up for practice, it helps not only them, but it helps the team prepare for the season. They get a better understanding of what is a penalty, what's not a penalty. Curious to know what they're doing with the holding this year, because USC had to learn the hard way that apparently if you play in the trenches, you're allowed to hold. We'll see if USC adapts in year 2 in the big conference. I had mentioned that, you know, the song Lil Boothang was going off in my head all day. I was in that mood. Like I said, the coaches were too. When practice was over, one of the referees left through Goo Gate, and all of a sudden I hear him whistling, "Fight on." And I asked him, I was like, "You can't get that song out of your head, can you?" He's like, "No, man, it's stuck." And he goes, "I got to get in the car. I got to drive an hour." I'm thinking, cool. So you had that going on. You had Fight On playing in the background. I could hear the victory bell chiming every 5 seconds. And that's because the men's tennis team beat up on UCLA's tennis team. I told you it was a good day today. Everything around USC was feeling good. You had former players back. You had Eddie Traplisky. I saw him walking around with an NFL regulation football. Kind of let everybody know if you're not familiar with this. The NFL ball is a little bit rounder, a little bit fatter than the college ball, so it's going to take a little bit of adjustment for him. Caleb Williams, he was back on campus again. He was there at Saturday's practice. So was Mason Cobb. Caleb was out there showing off his arm strength. He was trying to throw 50-yard, well, from the 50-yard line. So I guess he was actually trying to throw 60-yard field goals. It was kind of funny to watch. Mason, look, there's not many people out there who can wear a pink bandana over his entire head like a pirate and pink, you know, athletic shoes and still look mean. Mason's one of those guys. I don't think I could carry that look. Wouldn't work. Speaking of former Trojans, how about a Trojan, an NFL coach? Remember linebacker Michael Hutchings? He was hanging out, Minnesota Vikings safeties coach. He's actually entering his 3rd year with the Vikings, his 2nd as the safeties coach. Maybe one day he comes back to coach at USC. Well, who knows? I'll tell you this. I've talked to, you know, I've heard coaches, one of the reasons why they prefer the NFL, it's the schedule. They actually get some time off, where in college you don't get as much. Not to mention, free agency in the NFL is a lot different than college free agency right now. So that's a whole nother headache you got to deal with. But again, it was good seeing Hutch back on campus. Here's a couple of random observations. Friend of the show, remember Willie Washer, the incoming freshman that we interviewed on this show last year? Dude is stout. I mean, fire hydrant stout. He is, yeah. He's going to be one of the centers of the future. Let me ask you this. Rhetorical. Hit me up in the comment section. Is it mean if I say that Kobe Pepe is just a really big, large, round person with no neck? Does that mean? I mean, he was big last season. He's even bigger and, I don't know, is this a word, stoutier than ever. I mean, you look at him and go, that looks like an NFL player. He is your prototypical nose tackle. He looks the part. Yeah. Speaking of stout, last time I'll say it, I think it's time to move backup quarterback Jack Stoop into fullback. Yeah. Like I said, he's getting a little huge. Here's another observations. And this is kind of like one of those no duh injuries. They happen when you practice. And after practice, I saw Keyshawn Silver. He had some blood like right here on his white jersey. Thinking, all right, not a big deal. I didn't see, any cuts on him. So it was either blood or it was that Cardinal Nike swoosh that was bleeding. I think I know what I saw though. I will also say this. I won't say which player, not allowed to. I did see another player on a cart after practice. So it's spring. It didn't look too serious, but nevertheless caught my attention. Coach Rob Ryan, he gets it. He is starting to understand what's important. And when you're at USC and you come out to practice, one of the most important things you can do is tap that Trojan sword. Typically, the players and coaches, they come up the ramp. You can, the McKay Center, there's a second level underground, so you can walk up a ramp on the way to practice. Coach came from the upstairs, and as he walked by the Trojan sword, he said, whoop, backtrack, tapped it, made his way through Goo Gate. That is something that I really appreciate seeing. I didn't see Makai Lemon, doing any of the warm-up drills with the return teams or running any of the routes with the wide receivers and quarterbacks. He was out there. I just didn't notice him. So who knows? Maybe he's just, taking care of something. He was in full uniform, all padded up, nothing to report. Maybe he's just holding back a little bit. He might have like a little minor tweak here and there. Who knows? Now, Eli Sanders, Waymon Jordan, Xavier Jordan, DJ, the wide receiver, the jugs machine was working again. So they were collecting kickoffs, punts maybe, under the guidance of Coach Anthony Jones Jr. And after they receive the ball, now you got to avoid the defender. The defender being this big, giant, gray, bouncy ball that Coach Jones would throw at you, and you kind of had to use your hand to, straight arm away. Push the defender aside. I'm sorry I don't have any film, playing in the background that you can see it. I'll make it up to you. You'll have it on tomorrow's episode of Locked on USC. Just didn't have time today. My point being, Makai Lemon, who kind of wowed everybody returning kicks last year, USC's got lots of options, including Waymon Jordan. Excuse me, including Eli Sanders. And I understand why Waymon is so popular right now. I'll say it again. He reminds me a lot of Curtis McNeil, Moody. He looks just like him, except he's got the dreads. When he was going through the wide receiver warm-ups, doing the, receiving kickoffs, punts, he's got really good hands. Really good hands. Also, Elijah Newby, yeah. He could move back to the linebacker room. Dude looks like a defensive end edge right now. Period. End of story. Eric Gentry, into practice, he looks over. He goes, we're getting ready to interview some of the transfer players, the new players that joined the team this year. Eric Gentry looks over before he leaves the practice facility. He says, you guys don't want to talk to me today. My play was, and he said this was his word, quote, ass. He wasn't happy with the way he performed. And that's okay. He should be his harshest critic. I'll tell you this, John Ray Reed, the general, going to be a fan favorite. Got to talk to him. He's got the perfect personality, made for LA. Great story, too. I've got the interview up there on YouTube. It's on the WeAreSC.com platform. Go check it out. You're really going to like that young man. Like I said, great personality, and he has that fight-on perseverance. He told everybody, look, I was a 0-star coming out of high school. And then he kind of figured out that, you know what, I might be good at this. So he went to junior college, trying to get his grades up. And his mom got sick. He had to take himself out of school, put himself back into Hutchinson JC, made his way to Syracuse. Now he's living the dream at USC. Go check out the interview. Really good stuff. And the reason why he's called the general, one of the games at Hutchinson, I guess it was cold outside, and he was just yelling, at all of his teammates. His voice could be heard across the field. He's got one of those Coach Ed Orgeron booming voices. So there you go. The General, Jean-Ray Reed. One more segment to go. I know it. Every now and then I check my bank account and I'm going, I need a little bit more money. Where did it all go? It's probably because I eat out a lot. I entertain a lot. I stay in hotels frequently. It's easy to see where your money goes. So between all of that, you need to get Monarch Money because it's like having your own personal CFO. It's giving you full visibility and it's giving you control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending, and you can do it all in one place. So now you can stop managing money and start building up some wealth. And you're going to love the all-in-one convenience. Instead of juggling multiple applications, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track your spending, even plan some long-term goals. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com, and you get 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. So we know the women's basketball season came to an end yesterday. They lost in the Elite Eight to UConn. The men's basketball team, they were back in action on Tuesday night in Las Vegas. Guess what? They're taking on Villanova Thursday in the quarterfinal game. The Trojans exacted a little bit of a revenge against Tulane. They rode the Green Wave. They beat up the Green Wave 89-60. They were playing with a short roster, USC. One of their best players, unavailable. He's wearing a walking boot, Wesley Yates. Buzo Agbo, he wasn't available. Undisclosed. No one really knows what was going on there. Elohim, the freshman from Sierra Canyon. I think he's jumped in the transfer portal. So again, it was a short roster. And this team hasn't played a game in 2 weeks. And when you don't play a competitive game for that long, you're going to look like it when you get on the floor. It was an ugly first half. A lot of turnovers, both teams. But it got to eventually, USC cleaned it up. There was this one point in the first half where Josh Cohn, he was trying to play point guard. The ball was in his hands. All I can describe it as yuck. I think it was like 2 consecutive possessions of dribbling up court, turning the ball over. Like I said, at one point in the first half, USC had 11 turnovers, and there's still like 5 minutes left to go. But still, at halftime, USC led 39-24. They got their stuff together. They used a really good, strong second half, and like I said, they rolled the Green Wave. How many times have you heard me say this? If you listen to the show often, if you're an everyday listener, viewer, please, 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 we've got to find a way to get Rashawn Agee that extra year. He went ballistic. I mean, he went off. 27 points, 10 for 12 from the field. He had 9 rebounds. He was owning the paint. St. Thomas, he was a mismatch for Tulane. He might have had 5 turnovers. He finished with 9 assists, and he also had 14 points. He was 7 of 10 from the field. True freshman Jason Shelley, I can't wait until his sophomore season starts. He gained some confidence these last couple of weeks during practice, knowing he was going to be playing in this game. Both he and the transfer from Yale, Matt Noling, those guys looked great playing together. Shelley played 12 minutes. He added 8 points. I guess he's going to be a force next year. This was your starting five. Okay? This is what USC started the game with. Matt Noling, St. Thomas, Rashawn Agee in the middle, Desmond Claude, Clark Slacker. Again, without Wesley Yates, you needed a shooter out there. So Matt finished the game with 7 points. You had St. Thomas with 14, Rashawn 27. Desmond had an off shooting night. He was 4 for 13, but he did finish with 9 points. He also added 6 rebounds and 5 assists. So not a bad game. And then Clark, he chipped in for 26 minutes and 10 points. A well-rounded game. USC overmatched Tulane. This tournament is accomplishing 2 things for USC basketball. More practice time, more game experience for the younger guys. That's going to be vital going into Coach Musselman's second year with the program. And, this is kind of important too. The college basketball crown tournament, this is all about money. I told you it was a money grab. The winning school of this 16-team tournament, they're going to get $300,000 in NIL money. That's going to help. Like I said, this tournament, all about money. And the way football programs around the country are eating up NIL, if you can pull a easy $300,000 somewhere else, bring it. The players are going to appreciate it. Divide that up among the locker room. All right. It was a great day at USC today. Men's tennis, they beat UCLA. USC football, recruiting like they own the state of California again, like they own Oregon again. Feels good. I cannot wait until Cody Green, the offensive lineman from Mater Dei, decommits. It's going to be a fun day on the message board. That's all I can tell you. You know what else is going to be fun? The next episode of Locked on USC. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. It's really important because you're not going to want to miss. There's going to be some news. That's all I can say. Could be on the recruiting side. That's all I'm going to say. Great day. USC football practice, spring practice, off and running. Starting to find players emerge. And I mentioned recruiting is snowballing. The momentum is huge. You got the victory bell ringing. You got the defensive line coaches walking around singing, it's a little boo thing. I wish I could sing. And I wish I could play the song, but copyright, get in trouble. I'll be back tomorrow with another episode. So until then, everyone, you know what to do.